What's up, everybody? As you probably heard by now, earlier this week, the guy who won the big election last year was on a trip to Japan. He saw Kei Cars and he came back and said that they were beautiful and they were smart and that he really liked them and he wanted them to come to the US. Most enthusiasts probably know what a Kei Car is, but if you're not familiar with the Kei Car are these very small Japanese city cars. They've been around for a long time, and they were made for Japanese city life, and they're extremely tiny. They're only allowed to be 3.4 meters long, 1.48 meters wide, and 2 meters high. They have to have under 660 cc motors. So 1,000 cc's is a liter, so less than 0.66 liters, and they're limited to 69 horsepower. Take example, the Honda Fit that we did get in the US, and that's already a really small car, and that's 4.115 meters long, 1.702 meters wide, and 1.524 meters high. They only have a 1.5 liter motor, but that's still over 2 times the size, and they ranged from 128 to 132 horsepower, depending if you had the auto or the manual. Going even smaller than that is a Smart 4.2. We all remember the little smart car, and that was 2.692 meters long, 1.9304 meters wide, and 1.57 meters high. It had a 1 liter engine, and it was 89 horsepower. So even though that was really small, that was way bigger than a Kei Car, had way more power and a much bigger motor, and those didn't sell well. So I don't think that they would sell very well in America. I don't know how they would work with regulations. With that all being said, here's 6 Kei Cars that I would love to buy that are currently on sale in Japan right now. At number 6, a Kei Car that I would love to have is the Honda N1. It's a little city hatchback. It comes in a normal ICE motor, or you can get it in an EV. It's got a 658 cc motor, which you'll see that number throughout this whole list because it's under 660. You can get it with an NA 3-cylinder or a turbo 3-cylinder. You can get it with a CVT automatic, or you can get it with a 6-speed manual. You can get it in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Certainly it's not fast, and certainly it's not the most dynamic car, but it actually has its own race series, and I was going to do 5 on this list, but I couldn't leave off a little hatchback with its own race series, which I think is really cool. And for people that want EVs, you can get an EV. I would go for the 3-cylinder turbo and see if I can squeeze a little bit more horsepower out of it. At number 5, it's the Mitsubishi Delica Mini. We're all familiar with the full-size Delica. It's an off-roader van. A lot of people make them into adventure vehicles and van life vehicles, but they actually have a little mini version that can do some very light off-roading. It's just a little boxy off-road van. It's got a 658cc inline 3 or inline 3 turbo that's anywhere from 51 to 63 horsepower. It only comes in a CVT automatic, unfortunately, but you can get it in front wheel drive or all wheel drive. So it's just a little 3-cylinder. You can get a turbo, get it all-wheel drive, and it does have that CVT, which is unfortunate. But it's a cool little mini off-road van. You're not going to want to camp in this one, but I certainly would love to have it. At least take me to some trailheads since I do love hiking. Number 4 on this list is the Suzuki Hustler, but not any Suzuki Hustler, specifically the Tough Wild trim. It's a mini overlander little van. And when it's an overlander, you know, we talked about the Delica Mini being an off-roader, but this actually has a terrain select system and a 3D surround view camera system, so you can see what you're going over. But it's another 658 cc inline 3 and inline 3 turbo. The difference here being that they both come with a mild hybrid assist, but don't expect that to really help you with power. It's between 48 and 63 horsepower. This is unfortunately another one that you can only get in a CVT auto, but you can get it with all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. So you can get a little turbo hybrid overlander with some actual off-roading gear on it and get it in all-wheel drive so you can get places. Another thing you're not probably going to camp in, and I don't know that it can really hold up a roof tent, but it's just a cool little boxy overlander K van SUV thing. And number 3 on this list is the Suzuki AutoWorks Turbo RS, the most mouthful probably on this whole list, except for maybe the last one. But it's a hot hatch, and we're using hot loosely, just like we used Overlander and Off-Road loosely on the last 2 cars, because it, once again, is only 64 horsepower, which is a bump over the last 3 cars we mentioned, but it's only 64 horsepower. It's a 658cc inline 3 turbo. This one you can actually get with a 6-speed auto, not a CVT, or you can get it with a 5-speed manual, and you can get it front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So you can get a turbo hatchback with a 5-speed manual and all-wheel drive. And honestly, it's probably the best looking one on this list. I think it looks the coolest. Maybe the smoothest looking one is the Honda N1, but this one looks the coolest to me personally. And it's arguably number 1 on this list, but I do have it at number 3 because it's only so hot, and the other two are just really cool as well. At number 2 on this list, we have the Daihatsu Copen GR Sport. If you don't know, Daihatsu is just a Toyota subsidiary brand, I guess, and that's why it can use the GR badge. And of course, it's the smallest GR car sold because it is a Kei car, and you're not getting smaller than a Kei car. And so it's a sporty, once again, we're using these loosely, sporty roadster. It's got a 658cc inline-3 turbo, just like everything on this list. And it's got either a CVT, bleh, or a 5-speed manual. It's only front-wheel drive, but we've had fun front-wheel drive cars before, and a sporty little roadster that you can really throw around because it is so tiny. And it's a GR, so I mean, there's that, and it's got a turbo, so that's fun. You can get a 5-speed manual. I just think it's a really cool little Kei roadster, and it's a lot of fun. And at number 1, finally, we have the Suzuki Jimny. This is the JB64 Jimny. Now, it's on the same chassis as the regular Jimny. If you don't know what a Jimny is, it's a small off-road SUV, and we're not using quotes because this thing actually can kind of off-road. But the difference actually between the regular full-size Jimny and the Kei Jimny is they take off the wheel arches on the outside. They use smaller bumpers, and then they use lower profile wheels and tires. And so it's a legit off-roader. It's an actual SUV. It's just very tiny, but it probably has the most room on this list. But once again, it's a 658cc inline-3 turbo. It makes 63 horsepower. But the interesting thing here, there's 2 interesting things. One, it's got a 4-speed automatic and a 5-speed manual. So it's the first one to either not have a CVT or to have less gears on the automatic. And it's got a 5-speed manual. But not only can you get it in all-wheel drive, you can also get in rear-wheel drive, being the only rear-wheel drive car on this entire list of 6 through 1. But it's the Suzuki Jimny, the JB64, the Kei Jimny, although it's literally the same Jimny with some different body panels, smaller wheels and tires, and a smaller engine. And that is the number 1 Kei car that I would want. But I got 2 honorable mentions for you. At number 2, we have the Kei Open concept. Not Copen, Kei Open, but this is a Copen concept. There's not a whole lot of details on it, although it did look very production ready. It's assumed to have a 658cc inline-3 turbo, probably making around 63, 64 horsepower like the current one. But it will be the first rear-wheel drive Copen ever. It's a fun, sporty, rear-wheel drive little Kei roadster that you can get in either a CVT, which you shouldn't, or you can get it with the 5-speed manual. So it's a rear-wheel drive, 5-speed manual roadster that looks production ready and is probably going to be produced. Fortunately, it's probably not going to actually come to America like any of these cars on this list, but I had to mention it. It's only a concept, but it still deserves mention. And honorable mention number 1 is going to be the Honda S660. This unfortunately just went out of production, so it didn't make it onto my list, but you could still get them if you're in Japan. You just won't be able to ever get them in the US until they're 25 years old. But it's a rear mid-engine roadster. It's rear-wheel drive. You can get it with a 5-speed manual, or I think it's a CVT, but it's a rear-wheel drive, rear mid-engine roadster, and you can get it with a 658cc inline-3 turbo. So it's a turbo rear mid-engine roadster. Sounds kind of like a pocket supercar to me, although obviously it doesn't have anywhere near the speed, but it looks great. It's a really cool layout, and it's something that nothing else on this list matches, and it is the number 1 honorable mention. It would be number 1 on this list if it was still on sale, but it's not. And if you are interested in Kei cars now, you can actually still get some Kei cars. They're, of course, older ones, but you can get the AutoZam AZ1, which I think is like everybody's favorite classic Kei car. You can get a Honda Beat, which are really cool little cars. You can get a Suzuki Cappuccino, which is just like the AZ1 or AZ1. You can get the Kei trucks and vans that you see everywhere that have become so popular, like the Subaru Samba, I think it is, and the Honda Acti, and there's all sorts of mini Kei vehicles you can get now. And if you're interested in new Kei vehicles, it might be worth picking up at least a Kei truck or a Kei van, or I think it's the Toyota Sora one of these K vehicles that are 25 years or older, because they're about the same size, and you can see if you can fit in them or not, and decide if you really want Kei Cars to come to the US or not. I'm 5'10". I have not sat in one, but I'm probably about as big as you can get, being about 5'10", 200-ish. About as big as you could possibly get, probably smaller than me is recommended. But that is my list of 6 Kei Cars and 2 honorable mentions. Let me know what I missed down in the comments down below, or what you think of my list. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like car content and you want to see my videos first. Make sure you're subscribed and you get notified. But thank you again so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.